Welcome to EASTBAY Church of Religious Science, where spirit abounds, love overflows, and spiritual transformation begins. Welcome home.
Pray with us. The Lord is my shepherd.
The Lord is my shepherd.
God goes before me.
God goes before me.
Defender behind me.
Defender behind me.
I won't fear.
I won't fear.
I'm filled with anointing.
I'm filled with anointing.
My cup overflowing.
My cup's overflowing.
No weapon can harm me.
No weapon can harm me.
I won't fear.
I won't fear.
And we say, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I am not alone.
I am not alone.
God's my comfort.
God's my comfort, always holds me close.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I am not alone.
I am not alone.
God's my comfort.
God's my
Always
comfort,
holds me close.
always holds me close.
I am not alone. You are not alone. And knowing that there's one life, that life is God, it's whole, perfect, and complete. It's my life. It's the life of everyone under the sound of my voice. It fills with God's goodness. The perfect life that always guides us through hills and mountains. God is the refreshing joy that restores my soul. In the midst of what's going on, COVID-19, racial injustice, the election, whatever is in your heart, know that God is your source. God is your guide. And knowing this, I'm blessing this service, knowing that it's already complete in the mind of God. I'm blessing our support team who set the space for us today. Blessing our music ministry, knowing that they've healed us through song, opening our hearts. I bless our speaker, Reverend Champion, knowing that the words spoken are an inspiration and a blessing to us all. And I bless you, those who can hear my voice. I give thanks for the assurance of hope and love and peace. I now release my word, knowing that it's done, and it does what I say. And I celebrate the spirit within, my victory, my victory. God's spirit lives within me. And we celebrate that.
Your spirit lives within
So I can walk.
So I will walk in your peace.
Your spirit.
Your spirit lives within
My
me.
victory.
My victory.
My victory.
My victory.
God's spirit.
Your spirit lives within me.
So I can walk.
So I will walk in your peace.
My victory.
Your spirit lives within me. My victory. 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 My victory.
I'm filled with anointing.
I'm filled with anointing.
My cup overflows.
My cup's overflowing.
No weapon can harm me.
No weapon can harm me.
I won't fear.
I won't fear.
Hallelujah. I'm not alone. God's my comfort, always holds me close. That's our story. That's our testimony today. We're not alone. God's our comfort, always holds us close. And we breathe that in as we begin our morning celebration, knowing that we're not alone. Knowing that the power of God moves, guides, holds us, sustains us, and sets us free. And for that, I give thanks. So good morning, EASTBAY family. Welcome to our Sunday celebration. My name is Arlene King. I'm the pulpit assistant today. I am so happy to be here. Happy to have you with us on live stream. The Facebookers, the YouTubers, we're so happy to have you with us. And if you're visiting for the first time, we're happy to have you as well. In the chat, you'll have an invitation to visit our welcome book, and we look forward to hearing from you. And I want to give a special shout out to the Raider fans. I think the days of some game or something's happening, they're not in Oakland, but Raider forever. That's what I understand. So thank you for joining us as well. So we'll move into our God's the only power in our life. You can see that on the screen, and we'll read it together in unison. God's the only power in my life. Nothing from without can touch the perfect life within me. No past experience has power over me. I am a perfect child of God, and nothing that anyone has ever done or said can interfere with my divine inheritance. The power of God is greater than any circumstance in my life. The strength of God is mine to use. Turning away from all feelings of inadequacy, I discover that all I need is within me right now. As I forgive the past, I find that I have nothing to atone for and nothing to run away from. Casting off the old me, I discover my true self. I take dominion in my life. Old habits have no power over me. Conditions have no power over me. Personalities have no power over me. I take dominion. I'm whole. I'm free. I am complete, now and forevermore. And so it is. Well, as always, we have a lot going on here at EASTBAY, and I'm so happy to say that we have a lot going on because that tells me that we're thriving. And we'll give you some updates on the announcements shortly, but I want to acknowledge the folks who are supporting the call today. The call, too much Zoom. Who's supporting the service today? We have our musical inspiration under the leadership of Vanessa Wynn. We have Regina Woods, Shazam on harmonica, Andrea Brimley, Daryl Thompson, and Vanessa Wynn. We mentioned Vanessa Wynn. We also have on AV today, Brett Richards, and our AV person, visitor, Ajwa Wynn. And I want to acknowledge Lisa Bayless. Thank you. And on virtual service, we have Brenda King, who's sitting virtual prayer, Lynn Daniel, who's sitting virtual visual, Sherry Greer, who's our coordinator for today, our practitioners after service are Casey Zanmasi, Laritha Senio Mensa, and Mara Sewer. And just know our practitioners are available for prayer. That information is also in your chat. So I'll have our announcements that'll appear on the screen, and then I'll come back with just a couple more to close it out. So we'll see the announcements on the screen right now. Thank you, Brett.
Greetings. My name is Ona Afre, and I'm a licensed practitioner here at the EASTBAY Church of Religious Science. I just wanted to take a minute or so to share my journey with you through our consciousness classes. I started my educational journey on 9/11, And on that morning, we had the bombings, there was the news going crazy, the city shut down. And that evening, we had our first day of the foundation class. And so it was an intense class. There were a lot of people in that course. And we were just full of questions. We were wondering what was going on in the world, what was our part in it, how do we change it, how can we continue to manage, how do we deal with the fear and the grief and everything that was coming up because of the situation that was going on in the world. And so a lot of our questions were answered. We were supported by the church, and we were also able to meet a lot of people. I actually met some people in the foundation class that became my deep and closest friends. And so it's definitely a place to start, to begin this journey through education, this journey through to understand the science of mind philosophy. And it's also a way to get to know people and to start to build community within the church. We have many classes. We have our treatment and meditation classes. We have our history classes. We have our abundance classes, abundance and prosperity classes that will, show you how to manifest more money and get the life that you want, through money, through your career, through changes, through whatever it is that you're seeking and desiring. So definitely look on our website and, choose a class that's right for you. But definitely know that all of our classes start with our foundation class. Have a great day.
Thank you. I also want to acknowledge Precious Green, who puts our announcements together every week. They are beautiful and informative. And as I mentioned earlier, we do have a lot going on here at East Bay. I do want to let you all know that this year we're celebrating our 10th year of the prayer symposium. And we have a great weekend planned for you starting on October 23rd and 24th. The tickets are available on sale already, so you can just push the button right now while you're sitting through church and purchase your tickets. We have Rep. Don Miguel Ruiz Jr., who will be speaking with us. We're also bringing in Brother Lucian Baker, who will be speaking with us on Saturday. We have a series of workshops, a lot of great music, of course, and we just want you all to come out and support us. It's all being done via Zoom, so you can just sit on the comfort of your home, on your couch, like you're doing now, and enjoy the prayer symposium. So stay tuned for more and more information, but I want you to be aware of that. 10 years. 10 years, we thank Eleanor Greer.
Blessings.
We thank Greer Collins, and we thank Sharon Cross. Let's honor them. So today, our speaker is Reverend Champion Fleming, East Bay's own practitioner, minister extraordinaire. Many of you may have taken classes with them. You may have prayed with them. You may have studied with them. But I want you to know that Champion is a part of East Bay, and we're glad to have them with us today. I know the message will be powerful, power-filled, and inspirational. So thank you, Champion, for being with us today. I'd like to introduce our music ministry again, NuDay. And they have some wonderful music for us, and we're excited to be blessed by their voices, their heart, and their spirit.
Good morning, East Bay family and friends. Our first selection is entitled Love Theory by Kirk Franklin, but we have the honor of performing to an instrumental track arranged by our own Ben Heveroh. Thank you, Ben. We love you and appreciate you.
Brothers and sisters, I'd like to welcome you back to life. Back to the one that can make your next chapter your best chapter. Hallelujah.
How can it be that you love the most untouchable part of me? Of me? How could you see your life was the only gift I'll ever need to be free? It's amazing with you. I win even if I lose. Everything's working for my good for always. God save the day. He will come through. He won't fail. That's not what superheroes do. No greater love makes my heart beat. All I wanna do is make you proud of me. That's why I just wanna love everybody as you. I just wanna love everybody as you. I just wanna love everybody as you.
Let's go.
How can it be? Every one of my secrets that you keep.
You cover me.
You cover me.
And I appreciate it.
A mystery.
It's just amazing how
Your patience with me, God will never
you
leave.
never leave me alone.
Don't ever leave.
Help me.
Help me to see like you.
Like you.
No matter what I go through.
Hey.
Everything's working for my good for always.
Let me tell you what he does.
God saves the day. He will come through. He won't fail. That's not what superheroes do. No greater love makes my heart beat. All I wanna do is make you proud of me.
That's why.
I just wanna love everybody as you.
Oh, yes.
I just wanna love everybody as you. I just wanna love everybody as you.
Say it again, NuDay.
I just wanna love everybody as you.
Yes.
I just wanna love everybody as you. I just wanna love everybody as you.
And the church says, come on.
Loving you indeed brings out the best in me. That's how it's supposed to be.
More of you.
More of you, less of me.
That's why.
I just wanna love everybody as you. I just wanna love everybody as
Oh,
you.
yeah.
I just wanna love everybody as you.
Oh, yes, God.
I just wanna love everybody as you.
Say it, NuDay.
I just wanna love everybody as you. I just wanna love everybody as you.
God save the day.
He will come through. He won't fail. That's not what superheroes do. No greater love makes my heart beat. All I wanna do is make you proud of me. God save the day. He will come through. He won't fail. That's not what superheroes do. No greater love makes my heart beat. All I wanna do is make you proud of me.
That's why.
I just wanna love everybody as you.
Oh, yes,
I just
God.
wanna love everybody as you. I just wanna love everybody as you.
Say it, NuDay.
I just wanna love everybody as you.
Yes, we do.
I just wanna love everybody as you. I just wanna love everybody as you.
And the people say,
wow, wow, amazing. NuDay, thank you. So I'm so lucky to be here in this space today with NuDay and the audio team and Arlene King. I'm so lucky to be part of this family, part of this community. This community means so much to me. This is a place where when life is rough, when things are hard, and when you're looking out and you see really just a pinhole of life, this place, this philosophy widens our aperture. It widens our possibilities. It widens us through hope and expectation, through practice and love. Through love, 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 love. And as I was getting ready for this talk today, I would sit in meditation and I would just imagine myself at EASTBAY Church in the sanctuary on one of those mornings when it's full of life and love, when you feel so connected to people through the breath, through the smile, through the way that we look at and see each other. This community is so powerful because it creates in us, inspires in us always a possibility for more and something different. And with everything that we see going on right now, we know that we are on the precipice of more, on the precipice of a better way of living, on a better way of being. But all month, we're looking at this idea of fear. And in Timothy chapter 1, verse 7, Paul the apostle says to Timothy, "For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind." And now Timothy had reason to fear. He was a young pastor, he was a young teacher, and he was being asked to speak to false leaders. He was being asked to speak truth to power. He was being asked to know his truth in the face of conflict, confusion, challenges, unlike had ever been seen before. Kind of like right now. But what Paul was saying in saying that God has not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and faith, he was saying, don't let your fear keep you from acting. Don't let your fear separate you from the power and presence of God within you. Don't let your fear constrict the wisdom. He was saying, you are of sound mind, meaning there is one mind. That mind is the mind of God, and we can all access that mind. So in your fear, don't make it your fear. It is just fear, and there is something stronger and more powerful than that fear, and that is the mind, the wisdom, the intelligence of the divine. And so fear, often in spiritual circles and spiritual conversations, we're told to transcend and transform and eradicate and conquer our fear. But I'm here to tell you that fear is an important emotion, that it demonstrates an intelligence in us when we feel fear. And right now, we have reason to fear. But we want to move in the world in ways that the fear doesn't constrict us from acting. It doesn't constrict our power, our love, and it doesn't constrict our access to the intelligence of the divine mind. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to spend time with a kid who was going from from elementary school into middle school. And what he was doing was, in order to help him in the fear that he was experiencing around the unknown, that move from, that promotion from, that move from elementary school to middle school, he had this kind of junky old notebook, like a Kindle or an iPod or something, and he would go over and over and over to this website that had a whole list of phobias. It had like every rare and odd phobia you could ever imagine. And he would read through the list of phobias. Anthrophobia, a fear of flowers. Bibliophobia, a fear of books. Chromophobia, a fear of color. Dendrophobia, a fear of trees. Glossophobia, a fear of speaking in public. And he would go through this list over and over, almost having it memorized. And it was such a sweet experience to be with him, to see him addressing his fear and kind of getting to know all kind of fear and what fear looks like and the different ways that fear can show up. He was in a way, as Thich Nhat Hanh would probably tell us, to make friends with our fear. Because there's this really, really simple equation I want to give you, and that is fear plus suffering, fear plus resistance equals suffering. And when we engage with our fear in a way that gives it more power than it needs to have, in a way it'll constrict us. If we judge ourselves for having fear, that's resistance. If we compare ourselves to others, like, well, my buddies aren't afraid of going to middle school, why am I afraid of going to middle school? That'll make us feel wrong in our fear. But we want to learn to rest in the heart space with our fear, to really be friends with our fear. And for me, this is one of my, I'm like really good at being resistant to things. I'm really good at fighting them before I decide it's okay and I want to move into them and be okay with them and relax in them. And so there are two things I want us to talk about today to help us engage with our fear and not let it overcome us. And one is to live in this present moment, this COVID-16-19 moment, as if we had chosen this moment. As if we had chosen it. If we act like we've chosen it, then we get to let down the resistance, we get to let down the struggle, and we get to just be in it. So I've been imagining that I prefer to be at home. I prefer to work out of my house. I prefer to garden on my lunch hour. I prefer it. I prefer this. I act like I have chosen this moment, and it releases me from that internal struggle, that constriction. And I can actually face toward my fear and face toward the divine. The other thing I want us to do is to begin breathing with each other. That some of us are on Facebook, some of us are on YouTube, some of us are watching this service in this moment. Some of us are going to watch it later. Some of us are going to absolutely stumble upon it accidentally through divine intervention. What I want us to think about is, right now in this moment, think about all the people you love. And when you breathe, breathe wide. Come into the divinity of and the dignity of your posture. And when you become aware of your breath, we breathe our length. We do that very often, but we can breathe our width as well. And when we breathe our width, we're calling in all those people who love us. We're calling in connection. We're calling in our oneness with each other. So in this moment right now, with me, breathe your width. Breathe wide. And call in those people in this community who love you. We love you. We support you. We hope that you're seeing life through the widest aperture possible right now. We hope you're feeling the presence of God, that you're feeling us with you in God, knowing that we are all one with each other. When we're in fear, we're often told to turn it into faith. Turn your fear into faith. But what does that mean, and how does that look? I like this philosophy in this community because we're not dogmatic about our faith. Faith is more of an activity, an action in our life. It's our practice. It's our tithing, our service. It's our taking classes. It's an activity, it's a showing up and expecting, being in a space of expectancy. Faith allows us, despite our fear, to get as close as possible to the truth of the present moment, so that we can offer our hearts fully to it with integrity. This is a quote by one of my teachers, Sharon Salzberg. She says, "Faith enables us, despite our fear, to get as close as possible to the truth of the present moment, so that we can offer our hearts fully to it with integrity." And in this philosophy, we often, when we talk about prayer, when we talk about the divine, we talk about moving into the present moment and knowing that in the moment God is. What we meet in the moment is God. And that this power, this presence that we call God lives in us. It's in us and it surrounds us. And so our faith is a demonstration of our belief of the God within us. And as we move out of fear and fully into our hearts, that's where we're meeting the divine within us. So our faith is not dogma, but it's a hopeful expectancy. It's an activity. It's an action. It's a verb. And in times like this, we realize our faith is a demonstration of our belief in God, of our having not to know why everything is going down the way it's going down. We can't know, and we can't control it. It gives us, our faith in this moment gives us the willingness to engage fully with life, just as it is, as if we had chosen it. In this moment, I'm choosing to engage fully with the divine, fully in this moment, as if I had chosen it. My resistance falls away. The constriction of my love falls away. I'm occupying fully my heart. And I'm able to access divine wisdom, divine intelligence, and I'm able to really see a wide view of life and the future and of possibility. And now we all have fear. Fear is intelligent. Fear is, recently I was hiking up in the hills, in the Oakland hills, and I turned the corner off of a really wide path into a small, narrow path. And in that moment, I was seized with fear. I recently had surgery to align my gender, and it was one of the first times I was out hiking alone, and I felt really different in my body. And as I turned the corner, it was, the brain, right? The site of fear in our body, in the brain, is the amygdala. And it's there for a good reason. It lets us know when there's danger, where there's something wrong, and that we have to react to it. This is a fast kind of fear that seizes us and just completely takes us over. And as I came around the corner, I had to check into my own personal safety. And I had to check in and know, am I safe here hiking alone as a trans person? And I checked into my personal safety. But then I also checked into my divine safety. What was the divine going to tell me in this moment about whether or not I was safe? And can I access that wisdom if I'm constricted, if I'm seized up? No. But if I just allow myself to feel my fear and not reject it or resist it or judge it or call myself wrong for having it, then I can check into what is the reality for me right now. And what kind of message am I going to get from God if I check in right here? So as I turned the corner, I thought of all the media reports, all the stories of violence against trans people. And then I went past that, within myself, into my heart. And I was clear that it wasn't a fear that I needed to acknowledge in that moment, that I could step through it and actually I was going to be fine and I could carry on my way. And I had a great hike, an exciting hike. And I know, depending who we are, what our identity is in this culture, that some of us hold more personal safety than others. And that's a real thing. And I'm just going to say Breonna Taylor. It's a real thing. Our personal safety and fear. And so it's even more important for us to double down and go within and be in the moment with God and be alive in our fear. Be alive in it and let it be and check into it and get to know it and turn it over and check out all sides of it and see what is real and what isn't real. And then there's kind of a slow faith, a slow fear. And that comes when we kind of have more time with the idea that we're afraid. Like last November, I got a false positive on my mammogram right before I had surgery. I went and had a mammogram, and the radiologist was looking at my slides, and she ran out of the exam room and down the hall right after she finished looking at my slides. And I thought, well, that can't be good. And she ran, and then she came running back in, breathing that fear breath, a really heavy, strong breath of fear. And she said, oh, the thus and such chief of the radiology department is still here. And I ran down the hall because I want him to look at your slides. But in fact, he's gone, so you're going to have to wait. And that's a slow kind of fear. When you get some information that makes you afraid, but then you have to go be with it. And someone else has the answers. And you got to wait for them to give you the answers, right? So it was a holiday weekend. I had to wait all weekend. They brought me in for a second mammogram, like a deeper mammogram in this god-awful machine. It was really uncomfortable. I was shoved into that machine for a couple of hours. And I kept telling them, I don't have cancer. Of course, what did I do all weekend? I got with God. I went within. I turned toward my heart. I scanned my body. I checked into the fear. I didn't judge it. I didn't deny it or run away from it. I felt it. I felt the fear. And I knew from my communication with my body and with God that I didn't have cancer. And I kept telling them, I can get off I know you can't find the cancer. It's taken you 2 hours to scan me because there is no cancer. I do not have it. I don't think I had it when they thought I had it, and I certainly didn't think about I had it when I went back to get rescanned, and then I had to wait again for the results. And during that waiting, the fear would come up. Because fear is intelligent. I want to live. And I'm afraid to go through a struggle with cancer. It's okay for the fear to come up. And then when the doctor called me to tell me that I didn't have cancer, he was a little bit disappointed that I wasn't jumping up and down with him at him saying, oh, you don't have it, you don't have it. I said, I know. I told you I didn't have it last week. So I want you to know, I guess I'm going to say this again and again, that fear is intelligent, that we're living right now at a time where there is fear, and fear is okay. It's okay to feel it. Don't beat yourself up for having fear. And please don't use your spiritual practice to blast fear out of you, to eradicate and conquer fear. We can use our spiritual practice to love ourselves, to be gentle with ourselves in our fear. If we act toward our fear in constriction and blame and judgment, we can allow that resistance to snatch the good from our life. And these are hard times, but we can always find beauty. We can always find good. And I just want to give another shout out to Precious Green, who recently, this week or last, she wrote a really beautiful article about the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg and how her fear was calling her into action. Her fear of the results of appointing a new Supreme Court justice was asking her to face her fear and be called into action. And so we all have fast fear that comes over us. We all have had experiences of a slower fear. And our faith is a demonstration of moving into the moment and facing that fear, being with it and open to it, and in full heart, in full integrity with our fear. And so as I close with you today, I want to go back to these two ideas for antidotes for fear, ways to work with our fear. One is we are religious scientists. This is the East Bay Church of Religious Science, and I've always wanted to do a sermon in a lab coat like a scientist. And we want you to take these practices into your laboratory called life and work with them this week and see how it does for you and fear. The first is to live in the present moment as if you've chosen it. When you feel resistance or judgment or conflict coming up within yourself, just breathe and say, that's okay. I've chosen this moment. I was made for this moment. I love God and I speak with God in this moment. Live in the present moment as if you had chosen it. And the other thing I want you to do is fear can't thrive when there's connection. Oppression can't thrive when we're connected to each other, and fear can't thrive when we're connected to each other. So right now with me, if you would just, if you're willing, just place your hand below your belly button. Kind of ground yourself. Remember your dignity, your length. And as you breathe in, remember your width. Remember your connection to the people in this community who love you. And if this is your first time at East Bay Church, we love you just because you're here. Breathe your width and connect to those who care for you, for those who love you, and be with God in your heart. Thank you.
You know, I think God ain't too pleased when you walk by the color purple in a field somewhere or anywhere and don't notice it. Dear God, dear stars, dear trees, dear sky, dear people, dear everything, dear God. God is inside me and everyone else that was or will ever be. I came into this world with God, and when I finally looked inside, I found it just as much as my breath is to me. Rising, rising like the sun. It's the hope that sets us free. Your heartbeat makes my heart beat when we share love like a blade of corn, like a honeybee, like a waterfall, all a part of me, like the color purple. Where do we come from? Now my eyes are open. Look what God has done. It takes a grain of love to make a mighty
hold it all.
Well, I think this is the youngest we've ever found. Thank you, Reverend Champion, for that lesson in fear to faith. Thank you, NuDay, for reminding us that God is inside us and everywhere else. Thank you for a wonderful music ministry. And as we go into our gracious giving, I just allow you to sit with your gratitude. Sit with the blessings that you receive moment by moment. Sit with all that you've been blessed with and all that you have blessed others with your presence, with your power, and with your love.
Bless me, oh Lord, bless me indeed, enlarge my territory, oh Lord, bless me indeed. I pray for increase. Bless me indeed. I pray for increase. 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 Oh Lord, bless me indeed. Enlarge my territory. Oh Lord, bless me indeed. I pray for increase. Bless me indeed. I pray for increase. Bless me indeed. I pray for increase.
There are many ways to give, and you can see those on the screen in front of you. Through texting, going to our online page, mailing in your check, your donation, buying something through Amazon Smile. Set up a reoccurring gift, so you basically set it and forget it, and let God handle it for you. So I'm blessing those in the gifts. I know that we give from the heart, and our gifts go out into the world, being a part of a transformation of the planet, the universe, and all that we give comes back to us, heaped up and pressed down and running over. And for that I give thanks, and so it is. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Our service is not complete. We have a little bit more to offer you, but Reverend Champion will come and do the benediction, and I ask you to sit. We will take a time to remember those who have gone on to their greater next to be. So Reverend Champion will close us out, and I ask that you just sit and watch the screen and listen to NuDay.
So, giving thanks for our time together this morning, knowing the power and presence of God is in us, as us, through us, and it surrounds us. Knowing that we move from this moment into the next, and the next, bringing God with us. As we move, we're in step with the divine. And we allow the divine to live through us as we expect what's next, knowing that it is good and very good. And so I give thanks for this truth. I give thanks for this community. I give thanks for our collective transformation through love. And I release this word. I let go, I let God, I let it be, and so it is.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Francione, now interim minister here at EASTBAY Church of Religious Science. Today I invite you to join me as we pay tribute to those who've gone too soon. Oh, we weren't ready for Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and so many more to be killed. We weren't ready for Congressman Elijah Cummings, activist C.T. Vivian, Congressman John Lewis, nor most recently Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, also known as Notorious RBG. Icons of justice and systemic equity. We weren't ready for them to leave us. We weren't ready for members of our EASTBAY church family to shuffle off the mortal coil. Yet, what we've seen is life doesn't ask us. But when it's time for the beloved energy to be released, we're called to wake up, we're called to get up, we're called to step up. Yet some of us get stuck, caught up, stuck in grief, sorrow, and feeling frozen. Beloveds, I believe that life is calling us to embrace the truth of our being. What we've seen and known to be the truth is what the caterpillar calls death, you and I call a butterfly. What we know to be the truth is when energy is measured, it is the same before and after the log is burned. What we know to be the truth is life doesn't die. Whether like the chamber nautilus that moves in its shell from one chamber to another, so our consciousness moves from one state of being to another. For just as scripture tells us, in my Father's house there are many mansions. If it weren't so, I would have told you. Beloveds, I think for the beauty of our unfolding existence, I give thanks for our physical and spiritual journey, our journey on this plane of knowing and being. I give thanks for the energy and effort of those gone before us to bring our world into an expression of greater truth for all of us. Now, as we lament, as we mourn, as we are sorry and feel sorrow for the loss of the physical presence of these beloveds, I invite you to join me, to stand with me as we feel and know a deep sense of energy, a deep sense of emergency, to take the baton, to use our energy to continue the race. Yes, we are the ones life is waiting for. Life is inviting you and me to say yes. Life is inviting you and me to stand up, and do that work that is unfinished. Blessed be. Thank you.
I thank you for it all, the good, bad, the ugly, great and small, the times of victory and when I fall. I'm so grateful that I'm still standing tall.
I thank you for my tears. The pain helped me overcome my fears. You've been good to me down throughout the years. It's a miracle that I'm still standing here. All that I am is because all that you brought me through, and everything I survived, it's all because of you. I thank you for it all, the good, bad, the ugly, great and small, the times of victory and when I fall. I'm so grateful that I'm still standing tall. I thank you for the years, the pain helped me overcome my fears. You've been good to me down throughout the years. It's a miracle that I'm still standing here. All that I am is because all that you brought me through, and everything I survived is all because of you. Can't thank you enough. Doors you opened, times you were there always making a way. I can't thank you enough. I cannot express the gratitude that I feel for you right now. I can't thank you enough. So I just have to pause for a moment right now and say, thank you for all that you've done for me. Thank you for every opportunity. Thank you for always being my way. Thank you. For my life, thank you for my health, thank you for my strength, thank you, 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 oh.
I thank you for it all, the good, bad, the ugly, great and small, the times of victory and when I fall. I'm so grateful that I'm still standing tall. I thank you for my tears, the pain helped me overcome my fears. You've been good to me down throughout
years. It's a miracle that I'm still standing here. All that I am is because all that you brought me through, and everything I survived, it's all because of you. I'm grateful for you.